I have got this video. I'm so excited about this video, I can't even think straight. Okay, so today we are gonna cook a brisket on the Ranch Kettle. For those of you who are not familiar with the Ranch Kettle, it's the biggest Weber kettle in the world. And I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. I've got a 9.5 pound brisket that is, well, it started out a lot bigger than that, but after I got done trimming it down, it's 9.5 pounds. It's covered with KosmoQ cow cover. So while I'm thinking about it, y'all smash that like button so you don't miss a thing. And we are gonna cook the crap out of this brisket. That sounds gross, but we're gonna do it. All right, guys, just to give you some idea with what we're working with, this is the Weber Ranch Kettle. I got some custom handles here from Marty Leach. I'll put a link to that below. In fact, I'll put a link to the Ranch Kettle. I would say buy this used if you can because it's super expensive. We're gonna use the Slow & Sear XL. For those that aren't familiar, Slow & Sear used to be a adrenaline barbecue company. Now it's S&S Grills. They're one of my channel sponsors. I've got 2 of these, and I was thinking of setting it up like this, and then having kind of like you would traditionally do in a kettle. But I'm thinking just like you would traditionally do in a kettle, if you're doing low and slow, you might have a hard time keeping both of these baskets lit at the same time. So I'm kind of thinking, just to give you an idea how much space you have, there's 37 inches across, and there's over 19 inches between these two. So you could probably lay out 6 racks. Yeah, you could probably lay out almost 6 racks of spare ribs across. That might be an idea for a future video. Wouldn't that be cool? 6 racks of spare ribs across the edge of this. That'll be fun. But I think for tomorrow, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use one. Now this is a, sorry about that noise. This is a full-size water pan, or hotel pan. So this is the kind that fits briskets. That tells you how big this cooker is. It's kind of mind-blowing. Let me show you this. It's hard to, well, I can't even get the whole thing in the shot. So that is the big Slow & Sear XL. That's the one that's supposed to fit in the 26-inch kettle. You guys probably can't hear me right now because I'm behind the microphone, and that is the big hotel pan, and look how much space is left. Anyways, so y'all, this is gonna be a fun cook. I am going to kick this off first thing in the morning. That's part of the reason why I got you guys out here tonight, because I want to be able to set everything up, and then if I wake up in time, be able to get this going before the sun comes out, just to get a quick start on this. And yeah, like I said, I got that brisket ready. It's got the KosmoQ on it. I'll put links to all this stuff in the description box below if you want to check it out. If you like this stuff, please subscribe, guys. We will see you in the morning. This is going to be a great day. All right, guys, happy brisket day. We got everything going this morning. I lit my starter cube here about 30 minutes ago. Last night I put some pecan wood chunks on. I was not aware that I was actually at the end of my bag, so it was actually more like wood chips. So I just added another hickory chunk because that's all I had. I'm just letting you know that's a big chunk sitting there. It's about to catch on fire, so I need to shut this down. We got water in the water pan added this morning, and yeah, I think we're ready to go. Now, as far as vents go, the vent there's 3 vents. This is like the old school Weber kettle. In fact, this is an old school Weber kettle. This is the second oldest kettle in Weber's entire lineup. Just people don't know about it, but they came out with this a long time ago, in the 50s or 60s, something like that. It was a long time ago. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm sure the Weber Kettle Club people will correct me on that if I'm wrong, but we have a vent here, we have a vent in the back, and we have a vent over on this side. I closed these 2 down, and I started with this one wide open to bring the kettle up to temperature. I'm not actually sure where to set the vents yet. We're kind of playing around with this. And then, but on top, I'll show you. Ooh, that's loud. On top, I have the top vents just barely open, and I was afraid that wouldn't be enough airflow, but this thing is really efficient In fact, it popped up within a matter of minutes to well over 200 degrees. So I'm probably gonna have to crank down on this once I get the brisket on there, but that's just the setup. That's how we're gonna roll with this today. Let's go get that brisket and let's get going. Happy brisket day, guys. According to the ThermalWorks Smoke X4, everything is kind of settled in around 270 degrees, so I'm good with that. I'm not gonna make any adjustments right now. I am gonna throw this brisket on. Here we go. Wow. There's so, it's a terrible noise. There is so much space on this grill. I mean, it looks like I could almost put another brisket. I bet I could put a brisket there, and I could probably put one here if I thought about it hard enough. So at least 4 briskets. And like I said, this wasn't a small brisket. It was probably, I have to check, but it was probably about 13 pounds before I started trimming. So yeah, we're in good shape here, guys. This is gonna be fun. So I've got the brisket on a cookie sheet, and the idea here, let me get this in the, I'm gonna go on this side. The idea here, so I went to Myron Mixon's cooking school. It was a lot of fun. My buddy Tim and I went. We got to meet Myron, great guy, posed for pictures, even this one that looks like it's some sort of weird engagement or high school photo because I have my hand on his arm like this. But we learned a ton of, you know, Harry calls them black belt tricks. What? But a lot of just common sense stuff. And one of the things that he suggested was you put your brisket on a cookie sheet, and that way you don't have to handle your rub. I'm gonna go ahead and touch this up a little bit, but his goal is to not damage up his rub, make sure he's got a nice even crust on his brisket. And that's something I used to do a lot, and then I just kind of got away from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that again here, because why not? I have the space to mess around with stuff like that. So here we are. This is the brisket. She is on. God, this is so much fun. I love this stuff, y'all. I love experimenting. This is gonna be great. I'm gonna put this guy to bed, and I will give you guys an update in, I guess 2-3 hours. We'll see where she's at, unless something changes. All right, yeah, that looks good. This is working quite well. I went ahead and moved my thermometer so it's going into the side instead of through the top. Done some spritzing every, I don't know, I guess about every 30 minutes or so, and I touched up a few spots on my rub because I want to have an even bark. And there were some places last night when it went into the fridge where it wasn't exactly even. So we've got a nice bark forming. Probably got another hour or two before I would say this is ready to wrap. We'll do that then. I gotta be honest with you guys. This day, as this day's gone on, I've gotten more and more tired. I am gonna try to finish up this video, but I am just exhausted. I don't know what the deal is. And I go inside and I told my wife, hey, I'm not feeling so great. And she goes, I kid you not, she goes, it's probably the Sahara dust storm. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? And why is it all gray outside? So apparently there's some huge dust storm that blew into this area. And like, seriously, the clouds are complete, this weird, like brownish beige. And I don't even mean the clouds. I mean the part of the sky that should be blue is this odd gray. It's really strange. So I don't know if that's affecting my lungs or not. I'm gonna try to push through this. But if you know, if this video gets kind of lean on the back side, that's probably why. But like I said, I've been looking forward to this video for a long time, so I'm gonna try to finish it. But I do keep getting more and more tired as the day goes on. It's really strange. So, anyways, this is great. I'll bring you back when it's time to wrap. All right, guys, it's been about 5 hours total, and I'll give you a quick update on how this is looking. Oh, that looks good. That looks very good. Oh, you can't see it because it's really dark. Let me see if I can fix that for you. There we go. So yeah, this is definitely what you want to see. Got that bark forming. It looks like it's about, you know, there's a couple spots here where it's not quite ready yet. I might go ahead. Nah, I'll give it a few more minutes. But yeah, still hazy out here. I was, went back inside and my wife, who never takes a nap, was sleeping. She crawled back into bed in the middle of the afternoon. So I'm thinking, it's not just me, it's not in my head. But the thermometer says it's been running right around 240 to 250 degrees. We're up to 154 degrees internal, so that's not bad. All right, guys, so here is the plan from here on out. First of all, it's really windy out here. That dust is going everywhere, so I'm gonna get out of the outside. That would be inside. I'm gonna get in the inside instead of out of the outside. I'm gonna go inside. My plan here is to wait just a few more minutes. It's been 5 hours. It'll probably be 5.5 hours max. When that bark is fully set, it'll probably be at an internal temp of maybe 160 to 165. I'm gonna take that brisket with the cookie sheet and everything and put it in a foil pan and cover that with foil. That's another one of those techniques that we learned at that Myron mixing course. If you guys ever get a chance to do this, I did this, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, before I even started this YouTube channel. So this isn't like a sponsored thing or any kind of hookup or anything. This was just something fun I did with a friend of mine who invited me to go with him. I'm so glad I did. Meeting Myron, who's, by the way, a really, really nice guy. Nothing like the way he was portrayed in the first season of Barbecue Pitmasters. And his son, maybe the nicest person that I met while I was there. It was really, really cool. If you get a chance, I'd suggest, you know, seeing if you could go check it out. At the time, it was in his backyard in Unadilla, Georgia. I hope I said that right. Very small town. It was awesome. It was really cool hanging out with 60 people that were just crazy about barbecue. So if you want more information on the Slow and Sear, please check out S&S Grills. I'll put a link to that below. But if you also want to see more information about the Ranch Kettle, I have 2 YouTubers I recommend. One of them is D Ski Grills. So it's letter D as in dog, S-K-I as in like skiing, and then grills with a Z at the end. He did a chicken wing video where he piled it up with like 10 pounds of chicken wings. It was really cool. So you go check that out. And then the kettle cookers, a friend of mine in Colorado who smoked some cheese on his ranch kettle, and it was just a really cool video. So if you like that stuff, go check them out. D Ski Grills and the kettle cookers. Again, that's one word, the kettle cookers. YouTube's a search engine. If you don't spell stuff right, sometimes we won't find it. So look for the kettle cookers, one word, all together, and D Ski Grills. So my friends, it's been about 8 hours total. We did about 5.5 hours at what ended up being about 240 degrees. And with this vent, top vent opened about 1/4 of an inch, or 1/4 of the way open, that's where it settled in about 240. And even with the wind, it did pretty well. So that latter half of the cook, it was a lot more stable. I guess probably because I wasn't messing with it. But that's just on the lower side with this one vent open, the other 2 closed. Let's take a look at this. The brisket is getting to the point, yeah, it's almost ready. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pull off this cover. And let's see what, yeah. So yeah, here we go. This is our brisket. Man, it smells great. Our bark is a little bit soft here, and that's, you know, you kind of expect that when you cook this way, but again, you make up for it in time. So what I'm gonna do, and this is one of the advantages of cooking on the cookie sheet in the pan, I'm going to let this cook for about 20 minutes and maybe see if I can harden this bark up just a little bit more before I take it off. Because it's on the cookie sheet, it's not sitting down there in its own juices. So not only does it make it easier to move this stuff around, it makes it easier to retain these juices, but also, like I said, you can just pull the cover off and cook kind of in the open air environment and without having to pull it out of the foil. So I'm gonna close this down. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it another 20 minutes like this. So just to clarify on the temps, the first 5.5 hours of the cook were at what ended up being about 240 degrees once the cooker settled in and I stopped messing with it. Then I put it in the foil and wrapped it and opened the top vent about halfway, and without changing anything else, that brought the temps up to about 300 degrees. And then I took the cover off of the foil pan, put it back in the cooker, and right now it's at 281, which is fine. So I'm gonna let it sit like that for another 20 minutes or so. I'm gonna pull it off, let it cool down just a little bit, and then I'm gonna wrap it back up, put it in the Cambro, and let it rest for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how late it gets. It's almost dark already, so probably 2 hours, and then we'll come take a bite of it. So this is gonna be fun. This is the good part, right? This is what we work for. All right, my friends, I wanna show you something because this is important, and then I'm gonna tell you about a mistake I almost made. So first off, I wanna show you this brisket. This has been out of the foil for about 20 minutes, and this bark has firmed up great, exactly like I wanted it to. But here's the thing, my friends. So when I pulled the brisket out of the foil, when I took the foil top off, basically, I did the very thing I always tell you guys, you shouldn't do. I was looking at my internal meat probe, this one right here, and it said the inside of the brisket was at 210 degrees, which is, about 10 degrees before I start checking it, and I thought, yeah, that's done. I didn't actually do the probe test. So you guys know what the probe test is. This is when you take the probe and you actually push it through and make sure it goes in and out like warm butter. And here's the thing, that is not even close to, sorry, cold butter. That is not close to any butter. That's more like frozen butter. And that would have been a big mistake. At this point, it's fine because you basically just put the cover back on it and keep going. Because no matter what you do, you do not want to serve an undercooked brisket. And the way you know it's an undercooked brisket is it tastes like a boot. I'd rather just keep going, keep cooking. If I had to pick between overcooked or undercooked, I'm gonna go with overcooked brisket every time. But I'm just glad I caught this because it's an easy fix. Not ideal, but I'm just gonna put this baby back to bed and let it do its thing. It probably, after poking around on that a little bit, I think I probably have, I don't know, another half hour, whatever it is. And then I will come back because there's definite soft spots in there. That was the reason why I thought it might be ready, because it popped out so easily when I pulled the probe out. But yeah, this is definitely not ready. But if you're in this situation, just throw it back in the cooker, throw it back in the cover, and then at the end of this, this will probably soften the bark a little bit. I'll do the exact same process again. It'll be fine. But I just wanted to let you guys know. Oh, one more thing. Because I know you guys are going to ask me this. The slow and sear, I know the question's going to come. How much fuel does it go through? How many times do you have to refuel it? I honestly didn't cook in a way where I can easily measure that, because I was messing with the cameras, and every time I'd open it up, I threw a few briquettes in just for the heck of it. My guess, but I'd say, because I know people are going to ask, I would guess that in this gigantic cooker, it's probably about 6 hours is at least when you're going to want to refuel it, because you don't want to run it all the way out. But like on the 26-inch Weber Kettle, this is rated to last for 8 hours, and it's every bit of that. Yeah, my guess would be about 6 hours. So don't hold me to it, because again, that is just a guess. But yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna put this baby back to bed a little bit longer. A little bit of a false alarm. The stomachs inside are gonna be mad at me, but they'll understand, because they'd rather have good brisket than eat a shoe. So here we go. All right, guys, this has been the craziest brisket. I think I've probably conservatively done 200 or 300 briskets since I started barbecuing, and this one is by far the most stubborn one I've ever seen. I mean, this thing, he's just tough, but it ended up being a battle of wills, and I won. But yeah, you just have to wait with these things until they probe like warm butter. That is always the name of the game. In fact, that's pretty much the only name of the game. If I could get you to buy prime brisket, use a really good rub, and cook it, a little crooked here, I'm gonna fix this, and cook it until It probes like cold butter. I don't remember what I said earlier. I'm tired. That's the best advice I could give you. So I'm gonna cut into this real quick because I have got to go to bed. I'm exhausted. Oh, every time I slice into a brisket, somebody asks me which knife I'm using. I'll put a link to it below. It's called a Victorinox. It's very popular on Amazon. It's not very expensive, but it gets great reviews. Used to be really cheap. It's not as cheap as it used to be, but so I wished I would have bought it earlier, but it's still very, very reasonable for what you get, and I've been happy with it. So it's not like a Shun, you know, it's not like a super high. In fact, it's not a high-end knife at all, but it gets the job done. So before I start though, brisket looks good. It smells great. It smells like it's supposed to. That crust, that bark formed back up like I hoped it would. So we're all good there. No real surprises. Everything smells right. Everything looks right to me. So let's check this out. All right, how does that look? Can you guys see that? It smells great. Yeah, it's got a nice little smoke ring there. It's a little dry, but you know, not nearly as bad as I feared it was going to be. Again, this was not a great cut to begin with, but I think we're okay here. I'm going to trim this off because this is a pretty lean cut. I'm going to just put this to the side. I'm going to leave this in bigger chunks because it is late, and I'm going to put this in the refrigerator as soon as I'm done filming. And my wife prefers it if I keep things in big chunks because she feels like it's less likely to dry out that way. So I'm just going to cut off a couple pieces here just for the taste test. Well, that was really thick. Went a little thick on that one. You want to go, the saying is you want to go the thickness of a pencil, which I also did not do here. So here we are. Again, it's, you know, it looks fine. This is not an expensive, this is not a high-end brisket by any stretch. I think, again, with all the trouble it was giving me, at the end of the day, if we just have something edible, it's worth it. All right, I'm gonna give this a try. I'll let you know what I think. Okay, so this definitely isn't the best brisket I've ever done, but it's totally edible. Like this turned out about, on a scale of 1 to 10, is about an 8. I think if I would have given up on it any sooner, it would have been a lot less than that. So sometimes with brisket, especially with everything going on in the world today, you kind of have to take what they have to offer. So I'm totally fine with this. This is not one that I would brag about. Again, we got that nice smoke ring there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, the rub is great, of course. The texture is good. It's a little bit dry, but I've had worse. So I've had worse. Y'all, I don't know what was going on with me yesterday. This is future Justin from the editing booth here. I'm looking at this and I'm like, that dude was tired, man. I was exhausted. I was in a bad mood. And usually I'll turn off the camera and really think about what I'm going to say. But because I was so tired, I just sort of said what I was expecting. And really, that brisket was really good. After I was done, I was cleaning up my cutting board and I was trying that brisket. I tried it again and I was like, what was my problem with this? This is really, really good. The flavor was perfect. The texture was not as juicy as some briskets, but everything else was great. And I think at the time I was just in a bad mood and I was like, yeah, this is a C. It's a good thing I'm not a teacher because I would have just given, I would have given that a C. And it wasn't. It was about a B minus, B plus, A minus, somewhere in there. It was fine. I've made a lot of briskets that I would have happily swapped for that one. And you guys know me. You guys know I don't overstate my stuff. If you saw my prime rib video where I burned the crap out of it, I owned up to it. I admitted I made a mistake. This wasn't a mistake. This was a really good brisket. So, rule number 1, don't run with scissors. Rule number 2, don't review a brisket when you're tired. Back to the video. And it's late and I'm getting sleepy, so I'm gonna bid you adieu. Thank you for watching this far into the video. I want you guys to know I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. If you want to see another video I did where I completely loaded up that ranch kettle with an unbelievable amount of food. Like this is gonna blow your mind. Just click right here to go see that video. It also has a good comparison between the Ranch Kettle and the big 26-inch Weber Kettle. So check that out. Excuse me, check that out. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.